Hello, Heisters, and welcome back to another stream. It is 2024, and we're still here. We're still streaming every week. We started up with this week with Almir streaming on Tuesday. He was playing some heists, answering some questions, and we figured we had a lot of questions, so we figured it made the most sense for me to bring a guest for us today, which is, of course, our game director, Mio. But you can give yourself a proper introduction.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Mudro Kovacevic, also known as Mio. I am game director here on Payday 3. Started fairly recently, and before this, as you may remember, I was senior game designer. And yeah, just to also mention, just since we mentioned in the post, that's like interim game director. I'm essentially here like permanently. It's more of a administrative title than anything.
Yeah, it's more a formality. It's very common in the game industry, I think. I see it all the time that people have interim as a title, but, it's not temporary. Apparently we're muted? No, we shouldn't be. No, I see the sound picking up, but maybe we were a bit too far. We're not muted. You should be able to hear us.
Yep.
But yeah, we are basically here to talk and answer some questions, of course, at the end as well. But just to make one thing very clear right away, Mio's specialty is game design, coming from game design, so that's what we're going to focus on. There's a lot of other questions we know. There's going to be offline mode, server browser. We're not going to cover those today, but we will be talking about game design and gameplay stuff. Anything else we want to mention before we go into it?
No, let's just start.
Yeah.
People want to see stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And again, also just timelines. We're not going to necessarily talk too much about timelines. Once we are ready to commit to something and it's coming within the next month, we will put it in a dev update like we usually do. But we're still wanting to give you all a glimpse of what is coming. So let's just get into it by hopping over to the scene where you can see our beautiful PDF made by Kevin in the creative team. But yeah, like it says, it's a community update. We're going to talk about design changes and additions. We're going to... Oh, God, hang on. I tabbed out of my things. I need to tab back in to be able to actually do this. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so we have 3 categories. We're going to talk about 1, what's coming, 2, what's in progress, 3, what's being explored, and we can touch more on what all of those mean. But let's start with what's coming. And like I said, it's almost certain changes. But again, none of this is 100%. It's not complete. It may still change, but we're pretty close to where we think we want to be with this. But feel free to go.
Yeah, I can get more details. So this is essentially stuff that we are almost certain that it's going to come in the next patch. We can't confirm when the patch date is, but these are more granular changes. Of course, if we realize that something's not working or causing, issues we didn't predict, those particular things might not make it, but we're coming into this with, 90% certainty.
Exactly. So let's start with the techie.
Yes, so the Techie made her debut in syntax error. She's currently only available in syntax error. That will not change with the next patch, so she is still only exclusive to that map. The reason being we want to make sure that she feels good to play against, that she... because it's a pretty new and pretty different type of enemy from what we have usually, so we want to make sure that before she's available on all heists, it works well. So we're lowered her damage across all difficulties for the drones. All drone health has been nerfed, and the Techie will spawn rarer, so her respawn cooldown is increased by 20 seconds. Just to give some context to these changes, the drones were a bit overtuned. Our goal was always for them to prevent your armor from regenerating, not deleting your armor. And drones were a bit more resilient than we wanted them to be. So you will get the exact numbers in the patch notes when we are ready to release the patch.
Yep.
And as for the respawn rate, she was technically respawning at the same rate as the dozer, which is what we wanted, but we failed to account for the dozer being much slower and the Techie getting into her hiding spots much faster than the dozer gets to you. So we've compensated that with another 20 seconds on top.
All right, and we also have some weapon changes.
Also, just to say, she doesn't spawn more, so her respawn cooldown is higher by 20 seconds. Yeah. So she spawns less.
We probably could have made that clearer in this text.
Yes, yeah. Yes. So she respawns her minimum time before she can respawn again is 80 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, two weapon changes that are coming in. The R900, so armor penetration is increased, which means that using cutting shot, you can shoot through the shield's shield. So if you have cutting shot and an R900, you will shoot through the shield's shield, the object actually. Also damage increase. And then for the Mosconi, reduced hip fire across several stances. That means, stances like, standing, crouching, sprinting, and so on. So reduced hip fire spread, and the pellets are a bit tighter.
All right, moving on. Doesn't seem like there's too many questions on
Oh,
this.
yeah. Skill changes. We have a bunch of buffs here. Triage from Medic, it will no longer consume buffs. So for those who aren't in the loop, it's a skill that for every buff, edge, rush, or grid that you have, when you interact with a Medic bag, it used to consume those to heal you for extra. Now it doesn't consume it. It just checks for it. Threat assessment from Strategist. So that is if you have grit, and you mark a target, you take 10% less damage from it. That's been increased to 20%. Negotiator from the Manipulator skill line, which gives you extra resources for paying hostages. That's increased by 1. So you now get 2 extra first aid kits or armor repair kits. Shell Shock from Demolitionist used to only affect non-special enemies. Now it affects everybody. And it applies a 20% penalty accuracy to them if they're affected by your explosions. That also means that if you throw a grenade or shoot a grenade launcher at a dozer, he will get a permanent 20% debuff, because he's not immune to explosions. He just has a massive damage reduction against them.
He is a tank, quite literally.
Yes. CQC, the entire line has gotten a bit of like a reshuffle. So the base skill now gives you rush whenever you grab a human shield. It also refreshes it. Specialist Aced now says when you perform a takedown, you gain a refresh grit. Groundskeeper from the same line increases the takedown speed by 60%. So it's pretty fast to take down somebody mid-combat or in stealth. Soft Assets essentially says if you have rush and your armor is damaged, you can grab a SWAT and shove him. You will consume rush and you will immediately repair your armor. So you basically pickpocket them for an armor repair kit. And if your armor isn't damaged and you shove a SWAT while you have rush, you will not consume rush. So you can like do it safely even if you're like full on armor. And then Savage Takedown has been also tweaked, so now you don't have to take down somebody to scare civilians. You just grab somebody and civilians within range will be intimidated. Then High Grain, Ammo Specialist, and Steady Hands from Medic. So these were skills that affected only the person interacting with an ammo or a medic bag. We have changed that. So this doesn't have the exact phrasing in it, but essentially how it works is if you equip Steady Hands, then anybody in the heist who interacts with a medic bag will get the bonus heal. So if they interact, their healing is better because you have the skill equipped. If multiple people have the skill equipped, then the bonus increases. So if you all, so I think the base increase is 20% on Steady Hands, and then for every additional person who has it, it's another 5%. High Grain works the same. For every person who has High Grain, anybody interacting with an ammo bag gets a higher damage buff. And then Disengage. So Disengage has been pretty strong and useful, but it kind of felt bad that when you use Disengage to free yourself from a cloaker or a zapper, it's kind of a dead skill. Like you get one-time use. So we've changed it so that regardless whether you've used Disengage or not, you can always sprint through Nader Gas if you have that skill equipped.
Which I love that personally. Nader Gas is a killer.
It is.
Oh, what? I'm on the wrong keyboard. It's this keyboard. Right.
Equipment changes, and I want to just immediately say we're going to address it. These are not the medic bag changes we were talking about previously that we plan to do. We will talk about those in this stream as well.
Yeah.
But these are the ones coming on the next update. So medic bags heal more, so the 50% up from 35%, and they will restore 1 down by default. If you have field surgery from medic, it's an additional down. First aid kits up to 25 from 20%, so now you you would theoretically need 4 first aid kits to fully heal instead of 5. Armor repair kits, we've reduced the interaction to half a second, used to be 1 second, so you should hopefully be able to use them much faster. And also, we've done some rebalancing in the back end for armor, which shouldn't really affect how people see it. Like it's mostly in terms of weight, but to compensate for some minor changes, the lightest armor now regenerates 3 seconds instead of 4 seconds.
And overkill difficulty.
Yes, right. So small overkill difficulty change. So we've had feedback that people felt for overkill they had to kind of game the timings of difficulty increases in the waves, because they kind of figure out, oh, this is when the wave starts deploying SWATs or heavy SWATs or cloakers. So they would intentionally wait for the wave to start so it wouldn't update between waves. So to kind of address that, to make heisting an overkill more interesting, if you progress in an overkill in a heist far enough, the wave will update in the middle of a wave, so it won't wait for the break. So, for example, right now in all other difficulties, if you reach the progress where cloakers are allowed to spawn, you have to wait for the break between waves. But now on overkill, as soon as cloakers are allowed to spawn, they will spawn. Fun little fact about this is what we originally had in the game early on, before we changed it to what you saw in live, because we kind of wanted it to be clearer, the progress and difficulty as you're playing a heist. But we brought this back for overkill difficulty only.
Alright, are we ready to move on?
Yep.
Alright. So, next topic, I guess I'll borrow this for a little bit. So, again, like the other topic was what's pretty close to being finished, and you'll probably see, without any real commitment, of course, in the next update. We also have a section for what is in progress. So, this is probably very likely to happen, but obviously it's going to get tweaked, it's going to get changed, and may not look exactly like what we're presenting today. But we still want to give you a heads up of what this looks like.
Yes, so anything that's a number that you see here on a skill or ability or anything, very likely to change. In terms of individual things, probably will change because we're internally testing them, and if we feel they aren't working, we might rework some things. But this is generally the direction we're going with and what we're trying to do right now.
Yeah, so take a look at what it is, where it's more techie changes.
Yes, so we're working on making the drones easier to notice. We're tackling that from multiple angles, which is visually easier to notice, easier to hear. We're also exploring some other things if we feel that's not working. But again, until we feel comfortable and we feel it's set right, we're not going to roll her out to other heists. We're working on a tactical drone, so we hinted at that there would be an additional drone type. What is a tactical drone? The tactical drone is a drone that flies in and tries to blind you. If it blinds you, it is kind of similar to, the Half-Life 2 classic drone, or when you get blinded in Dead by Daylight by a flashlight. It's kind of similar to that. But if the drone is successful in that, you are blocked out of your buffs for 20 seconds. Again, numbers can change. And then drones, we want them to get the ability to hack sentries as a sort of way to, counter, fortifying and clamping up with a bunch of sentries. And there's nothing really in the game right now that directly counters sentry turrets.
Yeah. That's the comment in chat that someone's saying, just make them bright pink.
I mean, I'm sure some modders will.
Alright, and we also have even more weapon changes.
Yes, I don't want to go into the details what we're doing with the Ziv Commando in the Northwest right now. We are aware that people want the Ziv Commando potentially in a secondary slot. That's not what we're doing at the moment, but we are aware and looking into what's necessary for something like that. But we are going to give the Ziv Commando in the Northwest a bit of a buff because they're underperforming a bit. Equipment changes. Okay, this is the big one. So this is what we're working with, the medic bag. So the medic bags will have a overheal mechanic. So what is overheal? When you use a medic bag to heal, if you heal above your maximum health, you get temporary health in the form of overheal. Your max overheal is equal to your maximum health. So by default, you have 100 health. That means you can have 100 overheal on top of that. Overheal will slowly degrade over time. We're not married to the numbers. We're still testing stuff. So it's currently at a rate of 1 point every 2 seconds. If you take damage, it pauses for 4 seconds. So that means that if you're camping with Overheal, it's kind of going to waste. So you probably want to rush in and make use of it while it exists.
And there's some more cool stuff coming in with this, too.
Yes, we are doing a new skill line, and we are revealing the current version of the skill line fully for you folks to look at. So, this is the Fortitude skill line. I think that is probably going to be the name we ship with, but we'll see. So the base node says increase your base health by 50. Whenever you heal 2 or above maximum health, you gain or refresh grit. So it is a new grit source and leans into Overheal. The aced version increases your number of downs by 1, and your bleed out time is increased by 50. The downs part is a bit irrelevant to the rest of the skill. For the mastery, you get 2 additional charges in your bag. Those more perceptive people have noticed that there were 2 missing slots in all deployables. This is where this comes in. Upgrade 1. Whenever a crewmate heals using a medic bag, you heal for 40% of the amount they healed. If this heals you above full health, the X amount is added as Overheal. So basically, other people using your deployables benefits you. You don't have to hog it all for yourself. Upgrade 2, your max health is increased by 15 for each down you currently have. So basically, for every down you have at the moment, your health is higher. When you lose downs, your max health also decreases. So essentially, you want to replenish your downs if you want to keep your Overheal at peak performance. Then whenever you Overheal, you get a more additional Overheal for each down you have. For upgrade 4, your Overheal degrades slower for each down you currently have, and if you have any amount of Overheal, you can use first aid kits to pause its degradation for 10 seconds. So, first aid kits do not Overheal you, but we wanted to have something to give you a use for first aid kits if you're playing a health build that focuses on Overheal. And upgrade 5, as long as you have Edge, Grit, or Rush, any damage you take to your Overheal is reduced by 50%. For reference, armor is 25% damage reduction. Now, again, numbers are all very up in the air, but the general gist that you should take away from this is we want Overheal with this skill to offer you more protection than regular armor because it's temporary. So that's what it's going to be, but it's gonna not, we don't know if it's going to be 50 or 40 or 35.
I also like, there's some alternate skill tree names in chat. Juggernaut and Muscle.
Muscle. I was thinking of Muscle, but I didn't want people to have specific expectations because of the Payday 2 line.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, we're not done yet, so let's
No,
keep
there's
going.
more.
But wait, there's more.
So this is something we were hoping to get into the next patch. This is why we mentioned that all of this is up in the air. We were pretty confident this was going to be in the next patch, but there were some issues with it and we had to delay it because that's kind of how game development works. So Clean Slate is going to be the new tank mastery. It says if you have no armor, you can interact with an armor repair kit to restore 1 armor chunk. This will become the new tank mastery. Disengage will move to become the Escapist Stream Mastery, and then the current Escapist Mastery, which is you sprint faster, that's going to become an upgrade, since we feel that people who want to go fast usually take the base skill in the Escapist anyway.
I like this one.
Yeah, and progress favors, no estimate for when this will be, but we're looking into and working on making you able to purchase favors directly from the lobby if you don't own a specific favor. If you have copies of it, you can use those copies. And being able to use Heist-specific favors if you don't own them by spending C-stacks.
Alright, and our last category, but still very important, we also have, still we're exploring, so this is, very early development or very early testing. It might get axed completely, or it might change drastically. We don't know, but we still wanted to share an insight of what we're looking at in this phase as well.
Yeah, so this is all very early stuff.
Mm.
Any of this might not happen if we see there are issues or if it doesn't play well or for a million other reasons, but this is something that we are trying to, get into the game if we feel we can and if we feel it will benefit it. First one, new armor type. So we are exploring adding a fifth armor type that you can equip. So the new armor type would have 2 armor chunks, and it would not receive permanent or trauma damage. So it would behave more like a classic shield. So as long as you don't lose the chunk, it'll fully regenerate. The drawback to that is that it will absorb less damage than regular armor. So you have to be more careful, but you can make it last through the entire heist. We're kind of testing with a bit more stats, like how fast you can run with it, how long the regeneration time is. This is currently being tested, but essentially we want an option for players who want to have armor with less long-term micromanagement. Additional skill point at level 1. We're looking into this as well. We would like to add an extra skill point with the next skill line. We're not sure if we're going to be able to, but we're looking into like increasing, instead of waiting until the end of the year, like the end of the first year of updates to add a new skill point. We're looking like adding it like in the meantime. New consumable slot. This is a pretty big thing that we're exploring. Again, no estimate, but the idea is you would have a slot where you can pick up first aid kits or armor repair kits from the map, put them in, and then use them later or give them to your crew members. Letting multiple hostages follow you. This was possible before with a bug, and it was not intended because it caused like a lot of other AI issues, but we're going to look into seeing if we can actually make this, work properly, probably as part of an existing skill in the game, just adding that effect to it. Favors that act as payout modifiers. So this would be something like, instead of using a favor in a map, you use something like, 1.5 or double cash payout or infamy point payout or, things like that. That's also something we're exploring at the moment. Additional base functionality for ammo bags. So when we do the medic bag updates, we're also expecting that ammo bags will probably lag behind a bit compared to turrets and the armor bag. So we are looking into giving it an effect where when you interact with an ammo bag, you get a slight increase in armor penetration, so it helps you with certain weapon loadouts when you're fighting heavy SWAT in the late game of a heist. And we are also looking into an assassin skill line. Very early days, but the essential idea of it is it focuses on rush, it benefits you in both stealth and loud, and it focuses on using suppressed weapons. What that means is it lets us do a few more powerful things with it in terms of damage output, because we're going to limit it to which weapons you can use it, so you can't, have a Moscone point blank, and do like a billion damage, but we're exploring like the exact details of that. It's kind of also not written here, but it's also going to focus on marking and benefiting from marking enemies as well. Do we have anything else? Nope, that's it.
That's the last slide.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that is stuff that is gameplay related that we are currently brewing. So essentially, like we said, there's stuff at the beginning that you saw that is more or less guaranteed. Stuff that we are currently working on. We don't have an estimate when it's being delivered. And then this last list is essentially, this is very early days. We haven't started like fully working on all of them yet, but those are things we want to explore and test gameplay wise.
Yeah. And again, just highlighting, because I see a lot of questions about, server browsers, offline mode. We're talking game design today. So I know these are big questions that you want answers to, but unfortunately we can't offer answers for those today. But we will be taking questions for game design and gameplay. So anything you've seen in this presentation, if anything was unclear, you want to know more about it, feel free to ask. We're going to try and keep track of both chat on both Twitch and YouTube. I know I've seen some comments saying ask on Twitch, they're not listening on YouTube, but we're reading both. We just focused on getting through the presentation first, but now we're happy to start taking questions. So if there's anything you want to know, ask away.
Yes, and I also want to just add that us working on these features is not taking away from some other stuff. So the fact that we're working on this doesn't mean we're not working on other stuff. We're working on a lot of other stuff as well, don't worry.
Exactly. Yeah, this is just from the game design team and gameplay teams primarily. But I see on Panox asking about a weapon balancing.
So,
did you see something else?
I see something. We can go. I will remember the question. We can go with yours first.
Okay, yeah, because Panox is asking, well, what about weapon balance? So we can go back to some of the previous slides. We have this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk through it again, because
yeah. So we're doing these two weapons for now, and we're gonna be doing 2 more weapons after the next patch.
there we go.
Yeah, we feel like weapons are in an overall decent spot. Some weapons are a bit struggling with more niche uses and kind of where their space is carved out. But yes, we're keeping an eye on it, and obviously saying that these 2 weapons are gonna get worked on in the next patch doesn't mean that those are the only 2 weapons. We might look at more of them.
Yeah.
I saw the question. I'm sorry, I don't remember who asked it. Is how do the 2 extra charges interact with the double deployable skill? And the answer is you first get the 2 extra charges, and then Deep Pockets reduces it by 2 and gives you an extra bag. So that means that you get 8 charges minus 2, that's 6, so you have 12 charges total across 2 bags.
Yeah, and I see we're still in weapons. On Pure America says some love for pump shotgun. Seems a bit irrelevant after the shotgun from the syntax error pack. But I mean, that's what you just said, right? It's not just the weapons here that we're looking at, but these are the ones we wanted to highlight today.
Yeah. And we're focusing more on buffs right now than nerfs.
Yep.
R900 one-shot on the body now. If you have... I think it should be one-shotting to the body now on most regular enemies, and if you have cutting shot, it will definitely one-shot a shield through his shield. So not through the visor, but the actual, unbreakable part of the shield. Let's see.
Trying to see. There's a lot of messages coming in. Add more loadouts, almost full. I don't know if that's something we're looking at. I didn't even know we had a loadout limit.
Yes, you can have 7 loadout slots, I believe.
I think I only used 4.
Yeah. In general, loadout slots need a bit more love because we know that people want to be able to rename them. I want to be able to rename them because I keep forgetting which slot is what.
Exactly. Yeah. Now that I was fine until I made 4 now, and now I'm starting to lose track of which was my hybrid, which was stealth only, which was sentries, and yeah.
Are you considering to buff? So this is from Alpha DK. Are you considering to buff the reload time of the grenade launcher and maybe decrease self damage? It feels pretty useless right now. We already decreased self damage. Do people feel like it still does too much self damage? In terms of reload time, not something we have been looking at right now. But if people feel it's too slow, we can talk to the team. Lol, not knowing the amount of loadouts you can have. I mean,
it's not my job to know how many loadouts we have.
I mean, dude, I don't even know the exact number of skill nodes that exist in the game.
We have skill points. I know that. That's skill nodes. I don't.
That's why I have it written down, so I can reference more accurate information in my memory.
Yeah.
Sinatra
is asking, do we have an ETA on the next update's arrival time? It's been a month. No, we do not yet. We have had time off and stuff for the holidays, but we are now kicking back off, and we are working on some of the stuff that we've seen in here, some of the stuff that you haven't seen in here, and when we're ready to share more, we will share more. There's probably going to be a dev update coming out. Soon TM.
Yep. Spooky One is asking when you're going to fix controller and terrible auto aim in Dead Zone. The next patch, I believe, should have the fixes for controller, Dead Zone, and aim assist. But I always, as I said earlier, it's better to reference a written number. So when written words, so when we have the patch notes, then you can check. But I believe it is in the next patch. If it is not in the next patch, it is gonna be very soon. Let's see if there's anything on YouTube. It's been a month. Yeah, we're sorry, but we also had Christmas and holidays. Could you guys try to add a drone skill line? Like we can pull out and use for intel and stuff. Potentially, it is not planned for year one, but once we have regular drones in across the game and we're confident in their navigation, I don't see why that wouldn't be something we could pursue. So the answer is not right now, but there's no reason we wouldn't do it for the game outside of, time and prioritization.
Yeah. And I also see back on Twitch, Gent is asking weapon and attachment in-game stats when. I'm assuming they mean something
numbers.
different than bars.
Yeah, something in bars. No time estimate for it, so that would be if what you saw in the last category was things that are in very early stages of being explored. This is essentially, hey, we're basically, once we clear up some other stuff, we're gonna look at what it would take to put numbers on bars. So it's definitely something we would like to see if we can do in a way that feels good to you guys and is relevant, because we know it's a popular request. Mio, I think the ammo drop should be like in Payday the Heist, where it's server side. If the teammate picks it up, it disappears. That is from sample text on Twitch. It would require us to rebalance a lot, and the game is already pretty hostile with the ammo drops when you just start out playing. Plus, I think people are already upset when others eat up all their ammo from the ammo bag. So I think we probably are going to keep it to be per person because it's just safer, especially with things like funnel and automatic ammo pickup and all of that stuff. It would just be a lot of work to make it more like Payday the Heist, but also in Payday 3, we feel it would be more frustrating.
I also see, again, we're focusing on game design when we're talking about questions today. I see people asking about in-game voice chat and also text chat on consoles. I believe at least for text chat on consoles, we've already said that that's something we're looking at. And same with voice chat as well, but there's nothing we can offer timelines on any of these.
Yeah, so YouTube, 2 things I've seen. Connie Redacted, wait, ammo is per person. Yes, if you pick up ammo, it still exists for the people who have not picked it up. Not good on YouTube asks, will there ever be a dodge skill line?
Oh, yeah.
So dodge is very difficult for us to do because of the way we balance attrition and how you're meant to slowly run out of resources. That said, there is probably a way to make dodge work in Payday 3 and its current systems without being too disruptive. So the answer is we're not doing it right now, but it's not something that we are not considering. So not for year one probably, but maybe keep an eye out after that.
Yeah. I also saw an interesting question. I'm going to go back to the Techie scene because someone asked, what happens if you hack the tactical drone?
It will stun enemies like a flashbang. They don't have any buffs. They're cops. They're already strong enough, but they will probably have a similar effect to flashbangs. With the buff system, dodge seems like something that would slot in naturally. Abominable sound, yes. I think the main concern is we want to have a limit on dodge. We just need to figure out where the limiter is. And we have some ideas that we don't really want to talk about because it might spoil some future content we would like to do. But that's why I'm saying there are ways we've talked about how it could work. It's just that we don't want to do it for year one yet.
see, there's also people asking new heisters when. I know Andreas and I, when I had Andreas on here last time, we have confirmed that we know who the next heister is, but we have not confirmed who they are or when they're gonna show up yet.
GameFreak742 on Twitch. Do you soon plan to add armor plates that can be found around the maps, like the first aid kits and ammo and lockers? We will be adding ammo repair kits to maps. Sadly, we will not be able to put it in the next patch, but in a future patch, we should have it across the game where you can find it like you do first aid kits and ammo pickups.
I also see someone on YouTube asking, in which way is Assassin gonna affect stealth? I'm trying to find the right slide.
We're not ready to share that yet. It is very far, and we're sharing the Fortitude skill line because it's relatively soon. It's not the next patch, but it's soon enough. The Assassin is pretty far from now, so we don't want to share it. We're going to share it closer to, release, much like in this format right now.
Yeah, and again, like, none of this it's being explored, so who knows if an Assassin skill line even comes out, or maybe it takes an entire different shape by the time it actually comes out.
Mio, are you sure about the armor repair kit change? It seems borderline OP. Do you mean the faster pickup rate, or do you mean that there will be a skill that lets you repair your last armor? We generally feel like if you put in a skill investment in something, it's okay if it's a bit stronger, because you should feel like your skill is making a difference. The skill that repairs armor, it's gonna be strong for single plate armor, definitely, because that's the only one you care about. If you have 4 plate armors, then it's not gonna be that useful. Plus, you also need to find armor repair kits, and you need to trade hostages. And if you're trading hostages, then you should feel like you're getting something out of it.
Yeah. Tired Swiss on YouTube asks, could we take more police hostages? Right now, we need to equip 2 skills just to take 1 SWAT. Excited for the new armor and the update.
That kind of ties into what we're talking about now as well with the armor repair kits, because, yes, people are correct. In the most technical sense, you have infinite armor with that skill because you can keep capturing cops and trading them. But to do that, you would need to trade them between waves, consistently capture them, have stocked up on hostages beforehand, coordinate with your team members. If you're doing all of those things to get infinite armor instead of throwing out an ammo bag, then you can have it. It's yours. Because it's a lot of hoops to go through to get a powerful effect, but you've invested in that.
Alright, let's see what else we have.
Can we get Joker skills, Carlos Mon? So early on, before launch even, we were kind of hesitant to talk about the Jokers and Inspire and Dodge and all those big ones. Like I said, we found some ways where we can limit powerful skills in a way that makes sense. So the answer to, not for year 1, but when we find a way to make it work that we're good with, we will probably think about exploring it.
Also see Bimpy's asking, any chance we can decrease drone hack time? Keep up the good work.
That is in the next patch, actually. I think I forgot to put it in the list. I apologize. You can hack drones faster and from farther away.
There you go. I almost read the same comment again. And the Peanut is asking, when will we be able to mark techies by hacking drones? Maybe if you hack 5 drones and you have a certain skill, it'll mark where the techie is at.
I would need to think about it. I don't have a good answer now, because we already have a skill that automatically marks her, which is currently bugged, sadly, in the live version, but we are fixing that. There was one I saw. Inspire and Joker skills are too overpowered. It's not really that they're overpowered. So we can put Inspire and Joker equivalents in Payday 3, but we don't want to copy paste them because there's some nuance to it. Because if you have Inspire, then you're not risking running into reviving your teammate that often. So the Answer is more on a conceptual level. Skills like that could work in Payday 3, but they would not work the exact same way in Payday 2. And what we need to figure out is how do we make them fit in Payday 3.
Yep.
Can we wear escape van as armor? Currently not planned.
Also, this is probably outside of the game design, but Sly Sinatra is asking, are there any plans to lower the amount of C-stacks needed for weapon mods?
Yes. Let me think. Yes, as in like, let me think about that. Not a confirmation. We are probably gonna look at that at some point, and I'm not saying this because it's just change a number, just do it. It's not like that's an issue. We are looking into more ways to give you more sources for C stacks, so that amount might not seem as ridiculous. But depending on what our plans are, we might also just shortcut it and change the prices. So the answer is, we're aware it's a common complaint, and we're gonna either address it with more ways to get C stacks, or if we don't do that, we're gonna look at the prices. C stacks baggable in heists.
I saw that too.
I'd say hold that thought. There are some things we were thinking about in regards to that, but like I said, we are looking at ways to help you get more C stacks. But once we have that nailed down, that's when we'll probably look at the prices as well. Mia, please think about the negotiator and the new armor repair skill. It's 3-point investment for infinite armor that can't be destroyed by a cloaker. I mean, we're gonna put it in. And we're gonna see if it's too overpowered. We're gonna tone it down, but realistically speaking, you do have infinite health in the game right now, and you had it since launch because you could just keep trading for first aid kits and converting cops, and in a realistic sense, you could heal forever. But in a practical sense, that doesn't really matter because you're losing more stuff faster than you're actually gaining it. So our current assumption is that it'll probably be fine. We will test it internally as well and see if it is fine. And if we don't catch it internally and we release it and it's not fine, then it will probably be looked at.
Vladio saying, probably also not game related, but I would love to see more paints for masks, weapons. Current color paints are getting stale and kind of weird why there were no new paints all this time.
I can give people a freebie. We are adding unique renown rewards spray paint cans in the next patch. Yep. So if you are at max level, you will have access to exclusive weapon sprays as drops. That does not exclude that we will add new ones in general. This is just like we're adding new ones, and they're a pretty cool looking unique pattern that you can't get otherwise. Can we expect some improvements towards the Overkill weapon delivery system? Example, syntax error, basement spawn feels weird. Maybe use drones for delivery instead. I like the idea of drones for delivery. I agree. There are some maps where it feels like, the box drops and you feel like, it's not even worth getting. Probably something we will look at, but I can't give you an estimate because it's also tied to level design, and we are also, working on new things as well in that department.
Also, Shatdale is asking, can I show the Overheal slide again? So I'm gonna just
sure.
Go over there. Let's see.
Guys, add an unready button. We are aware it is a popular request, and we're trying to get it as soon as we can.
And I mean, this is a good one. We kind of touched on it with your answer before on the paints, but Yoskor Apps is asking, any plans on creating some sort of infamy level like in Payday 2 since some players are already level 150? I think you mentioned a Renown, right?
Yeah, we're using Renown right now. The issue is that you can see your own Renown level, but you can't see other people, or they can't see yours. We plan to make it more visible in the future. But for now, the renown level is the indicator instead of infamy. Let's see. Add more. So this is. Oh, I can't read. It's too blue.
Niels W16.
I'm glad you knew which one I meant. Add more random drops to increase replayability, like Payday 2 did after Heist. Also, maybe a non-microtransaction gamble system to get infamous mask, paints, etc. I think that's a fair suggestion, but that specific feature is not something we are like ready to talk about right now.
Yeah.
Let's see something on YouTube. Any plans for ammo bags? Any specific ammo types of deployable, like fire rounds, in Left 4 Dead 2? So we are. It's on the last slide. We are looking into adding something to the default ammo bag that gives you temporary, like armor penetration to your rounds instead of restoring regular ammo, so it has more value. But as far as like actual ammo types, like full armor piercing or incendiary, that's something we want to do, but we're not ready to talk about that yet.
Yeah. I also see Vazima is asking, will we be able to buy heist favors in the next update? I don't remember.
It's not the next update, no.
Don't think it's the next update, but
No.
it is something we're looking at. If I'm going to find this slide.
It's in the category of it's something we are working on at the moment, but we can't really share a date right now.
Yeah, we're still testing it to make sure it works properly.
Mio, will LMGs decrease movement speed? I heard you guys discuss that on one of the dev diaries about player weight. I feel like that's almost a trick to have me confirm LMGs, because we don't have LMGs in the game right now, so that's nothing that we can talk about. New Overkill weapons. We would like to do a new Overkill weapon, but we're not at a stage where I can share anything about that.
I also like 71FP's suggestion, a favor that spawns the Overkill weapons in the van.
What?
It's that one.
Favorite sponsor Overkill weapons in the van.
I think they're saying it more as a suggestion than a question.
Oh, okay. I mean, that could be something for a heist specific favor, because not every heist has vans.
Yeah, and sometimes the van is far away if it were to show up too. So.
Yeah, I wonder how you could do a generic, easier Overkill spawn favor. We would have to think about that.
Pinky Ninja saying, give us a dozer shotgun.
Let's see. Nuclear 223. I need to stop this from scrolling, sorry.
It's
so I can read it.
One, yeah.
Oh, it's still scrolling. Come on.
Thanks, Twitch.
Okay, one, I'm not a fan of the Sentry guns. How are we supposed to get them back if they've been hacked? Hacking a Sentry gun will overheat it. So it'll just overheat and you pick it up normally. It doesn't turn around to shoot you. Sorry, we should have been more clear.
Yeah.
A hacked Sentry turret means... Yeah, because I understand why the confusion is, because when you hack, it's on your side, sorry.
Exactly, yeah.
Hacking a Sentry turret will just overheat it. We should have been more clear about that. I apologize. Will there be super heavy armor like in Payday 2? Right now we're experimenting only with the armor I mentioned here, which is the armor that is weaker but doesn't gain permanent damage. 3, Mio's hair matches the background, so I never realized Mio had more hair than I realized. Thank you, I guess, that I still have hair.
You grew it so well, too.
Yeah, and technically, shouldn't the ECM jammers block the Techie's drones because there are no radio signals? I mean, if you place an ECM jammer, all Techie drones die already by default. You don't even need a skill for that. Okay, back to scrolling. Can a Techie be placed closer so it's more closely to the players rather than being at the top of the building while the players are in the basement? Yes, we are looking, and that's... apologies. That is one of the things we are looking at right now as part of making the Techie, be more fun, like having her hide in more reasonable spots. Let's see. Any plans to update on when we will be able to upgrade to silver or gold edition on Steam? I believe we're still working on that, right?
Nothing to update on that one yet, unfortunately. But we do see a lot of requests for it. We are aware of that.
Game Freak asks, is the team aware that the ECM disabling cameras when placed near them is bugged in certain heists? I believe we are aware of that, but I have not been tracking that particular bug.
Yeah, that's our QA team is probably on top of that, but we can make sure that it is indeed tracked.
Um, I'm sorry to ask again, but are limited time events in your plans? Nothing we can share at the moment, Sally. Um, let's see. I'm trying to focus on gameplay and design related questions because this is kind of the focus of the stream.
I guess Connie Redacted's question is there a reason why heavy SWAT spawns and final charge are higher
Yeah,
number of
yeah, yeah.
objectives instead of time?
Yeah. So yeah, to repeat the question in case people didn't hear it. Is there a reason why heavy SWAT spawn and final charge are dependent on objective instead of time? We found it worked better in testing because in general, if you coordinate, you can finish heist pretty fast. So going loud later would not be that big of a deal. Like it would feel like pretty flat, like you open the vault and you only get zappers. That said, the reason we put that in is because we still thought it would encourage people to stealth as far as possible because you're not spending ammo, you're not spending armor, you're not spending healing in the meantime, so it's still a big deal. We also know that some people don't necessarily see eye to eye on that and don't agree with that. So right now, no plans to change it, but we're aware that some people don't see a benefit in continuing the heist in loud after breaking stealth.
Dedicate Z is asking, do optional objectives do anything?
Uh, they do. Yeah, I see it. They do. Uh, I know that a lot of the optional loot gives you extra cash. I can't really say offhand whether it gives you extra XP as well.
Vertex is asking about, I don't know if you know about this bug, but additional favors get consumed on restarts. Any update on a fix? I know that's been tracked and working on, but I don't know when it's coming out.
I'm not in the loop on that bug. I know I'm aware of it, but I'm not in the loop on like it's fixed because it's a bit outside of what I'm doing. With upgrade 4 and Fortitude skill line and using 1 plate armor, which has 4 downs, will you have no overheal reduction at all? Or, yes, I see. That is the phrasing part. Yes, so if you have 100% slower overheal, it means that it's twice as slow. So if you lose 1 point every 4 seconds, 100% will make you lose 1 point every 8 seconds. So it doesn't pause it. Let's see.
Suggestion from Telkis on YouTube. How about heavy SWATs drop armor plates when killed? Like every 5 you kill, one will drop a plate or 2. Suggestion.
Yeah, I've heard that suggestion before. I think it would throw like the entire resource completely out of whack, to be honest. Like you would just be in the heist forever. With the trading with the skill that like you can use repair kits to repair your first piece of armor if you have no armor. It's a skill investment. It requires armor repair kits. You get them at a slower rate than you usually lose it. But with killing specials or heavy SWAT, it's such a high rate that it would just kind of like trivialize it. Let's see.
Do you know Monado's cam distortion?
Cam distortion doesn't work with Cerberus core. Is this intentional? Oh god, cam distortion is the one where you place the ECM jammer next to a camera. It is not intended. It should work with that, but if it doesn't, it's either a bug or an oversight. I'll have to follow up on that. Any plans to make the assault indicator have more soul? I agree it could be a bit more snazzy. We are aware of that, and I can't really, like, at this point, talk too much about that specifically. Let's see.
So just a quick, I'm going to borrow this one, just a quick mention that we are going to have to go offline in about 5 minutes. So if we have missed your question, which is very likely, there's been a lot of questions, please try to post them again, but don't spam the chat too much or we might not be able to see it.
Well, now everybody's gonna spam
Yeah,
it.
that's. I just realized as I said it was like I probably shouldn't have said that.
Okay, no, this is a good question. Amelpzet on YouTube asks, Mio, any plans to change how custody works? At the time, it's extremely OP that you can get out scot-free with no price. At least make it so you can get out of custody on timer only once, and then you need hostages, I assume is the rest of the message. So we tried it like that during development, because that's how it works in like old school, Payday. Like you need to trade hostages. There's no respawn timer. The internal response to that, with like internal testing and play testing and so on, was overwhelmingly negative. So we made it just a respawn timer, which is higher the more hostages you kill and the higher the difficulty. That said, if people would like it to work like that, maybe on Overkill, let us know. Right now, we don't have any plans to change it just because of like the internal reception to it when we initially tried it.
Yep. I see Andrew Willems is asking about Overkill weapon plans again, but I think you said we have them, but we can't share them yet.
Yeah, we can share them. We can't spoil everything yet, sadly. Yeah. We will try to communicate ahead of time. Please add the dozer shotgun as an Overkill weapon. This is more of like a developer response, but the way the weapons, like the actual model that enemies use and the ones that players use, are made very differently, and like they're different quality levels and like different fidelity. So we can't just take the dozer one and like put it in because there's a lot of stuff missing. But we knew that people would want that shotgun as an Overkill weapon, and we want it, but I can't really talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you see anything else?
A lot of comments to the questions being asked.
Okay, I see one last one.
Okay.
I am a loud player. Can there be an infamy point bonus for completing a heist from start to finish in loud? It's on my radar. I am aware that some heists just aren't worth. Sometimes like doesn't feel like they're worth doing in loud because you don't get anything extra for it. Trying to figure out a solution that's satisfying for it. That's not just like a flat bonus. Remove 25 C stacks as a renown reward. It is removed with the spray paint cans being added, because I agree it was not satisfying. So now you can only get the exclusive spray paint cans, exclusive mask patterns, and exclusive stickers. So that's in the next update.
Yeah, and also just one last one. We already touched upon it, but Robot Cupcake is asking, the region armor sounds great. Can you expand on that? So let's do that one and then we wrap up.
Okay. So here's how the armor works. So the armor is 2 chunks. It has the same health as a regular 2-chunk armor, and the difference is it has lower damage reduction, so it will take damage faster. But if you hide and let it regenerate, it will always regenerate to full. It never takes like trauma or permanent damage. So if that's a playstyle you prefer, where you have to be a bit more careful moment to moment, but don't have to worry about long-term consequences, it's a nice trade-off. We are testing this, how fast you should move in it, how many downs you should have with it, and how fast it should regenerate. Right now, the numbers we are testing is it should be as fast as the lightest armor. It gives you, I believe, 3 downs, and the regen time is between the lightest and the second lightest armor. So we're trying to like see how that feels. This is still very early, and all numbers are extremely temporary, but our team is testing it, and as soon as we're comfortable with it, we'll push it so you can have a 5th armor choice.
All right. And with that, it is 6 p.m., so it is time for us to wrap up. I see some questions about this PowerPoint presentation, if this is going to be made available. And yes, I will be posting this on our website like I have in the past. I might not be able to do it today, but it will be up definitely tomorrow. I know we've had one of our moderators as well has been taking notes that we were also going to post. So if you want to read this later on or share it with other people, we will be able to have it available to you, even if you didn't tune into the stream. And again, just to reiterate, all of this, what we talked about today, well, some of it is certain and is coming in the next update. We haven't shared any timelines. We will be doing a dev update with more information, and also at that point, we'll have committed to it being within the next month of when the dev update comes out. But yeah, that's going to be my closing words. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Do you want to have any final words before we go?
Yep. Thank you all for tuning in.
And yeah, make sure to come back again next week, because on Tuesday, Almir will be back for Heisting with Almir. And I'll hope to see you all in chat. And thank you all so much, and catch you later.